Hi Haren, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, sir.
So first of all, congratulations on scoring 99.24 percentile in CAT.
Thank you.
Cool. So firstly, can you tell us a little bit about your profile, your education background, and when you started preparing for CAT and all that?
Okay. So my educational background, I am a chartered accountant by profession, and post CA I did
Okay.
ACCA, wherein I got the 3rd rank in India and 25th rank globally.
Great.
And like during articleship and post qualification, first I started with a tax profile, and from December I've joined BDO India as a consultant in risk advisory. Okay, and I'm also a BCom graduate. And after that, speaking of CAT, I started my preparation in from June, where first I started with the basics,
Okay.
and then I also started with Cracku daily targets, and I found that really helpful. And when the
Right.
new course, and then I took Cracku mocks from September, and that's been my and Cracku mocks have been really helpful to me
Right.
for my preparations.
So you're a working professional and you gave CAT while you were working. So I think time was a big issue. So how did you manage time? What was your timetable during your preparation?
Okay. So first of all, during weekdays I could dedicate lesser time, and weekends I actually maxed out on my time given to CAT. Okay. So on weekdays I used to remove a minimum 1.5 to 2 hours. I kept that discipline, and I used to touch upon each and every section, even do a little bit of it. Let's say I used to solve 2 or 3 RCs in one day, or someday I take a verbal ability, para jumble, para summary. I used to solve 2 to 3 DILR sets every day. And for quant, I used to take up one topic. First, I used to brush up my basics,
Okay.
and then after that, I used to solve a lot of sums. That was my weekday schedule, and I used to keep all my mocks on weekends because
Okay.
I could actually remove a lot of time on weekends comparatively. So I used to regularly give mocks, irrespective of however tired I am, or because I believe that in CAT your graph will never go straight; it will always go up and down. But the most important thing is to keep going.
Right.
So I kept going, and I kept giving mocks on weekends.
Great. So can you tell us how many mocks you gave and how many hours you spend analyzing each mock?
Okay, I would have given around 40 mocks.
Okay.
Hours spent. So earlier it was a 3-hour mock, right?
Right.
And in September, mid-September, I think they announced it to 2 hours. So for a 3-hour mock, I used to spend minimum 2.5 to 3 hours analyzing it.
Okay.
So what my strategy would be that when I've given the mock, I'm very tired because it's a very heavy mental exercise. So at that point of time, I never analyze the mock. So I would take a break, freshen up, and then analyze the same later on.
Right.
And I used to go section by section. First, I used to do VARC. So I used to try to recall what exactly was my thinking and what is the actual answers. And then even DILR, first thing I used to look at my set selection, because that is the most important thing. Like solving is the second part, but I believe the first part is a set selection. And for quant also, I think the question selection is more important. The way you do it is more important.
Great.
That was my strategy. Yeah.
Right. So during your preparation, were there any instances like where you were demotivated from your low mock scores or something like that? Like if yes, how did you handle that?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, the scores actually even fluctuated more than the share market prices.
Okay.
It literally went up and down like anything. And one thing is there, if you believe that you want to do well in one mock, you predetermine think that okay, I want to score maybe in the old 3-hour format a 150 plus, 160 plus, and you go with a set target, no, then you will never be able to achieve it. So what I realized from a low score was that don't go out there to achieve a particular score. Go out there to solve it.
Right.
The question doesn't care. That is the most important thing. Like for one question, you just have to approach it in the way it should have been approached. That is, and just go question by question. Speaking of low scores, I have got low scores at times, but what I learned from it was that that gave me a push that this much will not do. You have to work harder. So I never gave up on a low score. In fact, I used to actually feel happy that I get a low score
Right.
because the thing is that I realize my mistake, that I have got a mistake, and better thing is to get a low score in a mock rather than the low score in the actual exam. So it kept me going.
Great. So can you tell us what was your strategy in each section, VARC, Quant and LRDI?
Yeah, sure. So firstly, talking about VARC, what I used to do is to spend at least a couple of minutes to understand the topics of each and every passage and pick the right passages. Within the VARC section, I believe the first and the foremost thing is to pick the right passage. So I used to spend around 3 to 4 minutes evaluating
Okay.
each passage topic and the kind of questions, whether they are direct fact based or inference based, and then accordingly pick the passages, and then first do the at least pick two good RCs, then do
Right.
some VA. So my strategy was, in the first half time of the section, I used to pick all the easier questions. So I used to pick two passages. Then I pick in the para jumble, para summary, and odd sentence out the easier questions. Then in the next half, I will do the medium to difficult questions as per
Okay.
how much, yeah, as per whatever I feel the required attempts. Even in passages, sometimes there is one question which feels like this is having very close options and this will be time consuming. So in the first round, I used to not do those questions.
Okay.
So first half of like for maybe 20 minutes out of the 40-minute section, I used to try and max out my score and then go ahead. And for VARC specifically, Cracku Daily Target has been very helpful. Apart from that, I used to read news and economic times, and I used to also read Aeon essays.
Okay.
That is also one thing which I want to share, that if you are having a good reading skill, then you can improve on this section and do well in the CAT.
Right.
These have been my predominant sources for VARC, and it
Okay.
is about practice. Yeah, yeah. Now DILR. So for DILR also, I believe it's more about practice. See, being non-engineer, this is a kind of thing that I have never done in the past before ever. So this was completely new, but the kind of person I am with an analytical bent of mind. I like to do all these things. So the puzzles and challenges were very like, they really appealed to me. So I enjoyed doing everything. It took so in the start, in 40 minutes, maybe I used to just be able to do two and a half, three sets. But with
Okay.
time, I believe that it'll keep improving. So I kept going on and working on my set selection and the way I'm solving it. And specifically in DILR, I used to compare how I am doing with for the mocks of Cracku. I used to compare how Maruti sir is solving, like how a
Okay.
100% Tyler is solving. So that mindset shift, first understanding the basics, and secondly the mindset shift of how a 100% Tyler topper is doing it differently,
Right.
was the game changer for me in DILR. Okay, so like looking at a 100% Tyler like Maruti sir, how
Right.
he is so approaching a particular DILR set, and even Siley ma'am.
Right.
I remember in the mocks, wherever I used to get stuck, or even if I have taken more time on a set, I used to look at how they are solving it.
Right.
And I used to map my approach to theirs, and then I used to look at the thought process gap,
Right.
like why I was not able to think like that. And that actually was a game changer for me in DILR section.
Great.
As for the Cracku mocks and Cracku sectionals, I think, and by far, I think Cracku sectional for DILR was something which was very close to CAT. So that also set up a very good foundation for me in DILR.
Great.
And now moving to Quant. Quant actually, even though I'm from non-engineer background, but I genuinely love maths, and I've given Olympiad since childhood. So
Okay.
this was not a big challenge for me. Rather, this was something that I actually had to just brush up my skills. But one thing unique about CAT is that you cannot go and solve everything anyhow, because the most important thing is managing time.
Right.
And this, I think, even a manager or anything is has to do. Anybody has to do is, you have resources, but you have to allocate the resources well. So let's say you know all 34 questions in an old format, but you can't do it in 1 hour. So you have to pick those questions which you can do quickly to maximize your score.
Right.
So what I used to do in Quant was, I used to spend 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, scanning the entire Quant section and dividing it into ABC. And then next 10-15 minutes, I used to do all my A's. And sometimes what happens is there is an estimation error where you thought it is an A but it turns out a C. I used to leave that, because 1 minute wasted is better than 5 minutes wasted.
Right.
And never get attached to any topic. Let's say, for example, I'm someone who loves arithmetic, but that doesn't mean that if I'm having a very difficult time speed distance problem, I will spend 5 minutes on it. If I'm not able to do it in 1.5 minutes, I will skip it. And one more very important thing in quant is I believe that you have to do every topic. You can't just stick to one topic or one area. Like if I
Right.
love arithmetic, but that doesn't mean I will leave geometry. I will leave number system. So what I did was I did the basics of all, because I believe that in every area there are 2-3 very scoring questions as well, which can be solved very quickly. And if you don't know the basics, then everything is a problem for you and you will miss out. And this is the area where others will score and you will not score, and there is that is a actual game changer. So I touched upon my arithmetic was strong, so I had to work on algebra and geometry and permutation combination in the modern math part.
Right.
Rest other things I have done before in quite depth, so I had to brush up the skills. But these were the main areas where I had to literally build my concepts well. And one thing which really helped me was the way Maruti sir used to solve each and every quant question. And one thing is that in Cracku mocks, I noticed that there were few mocks where the level of difficulty of quant was significantly higher. So that gave me a really the good exposure to a very difficult problems, and looking at video solutions of how Maruti sir is solving it actually was a game changer for me. Like there were things which I had never even thought of, and the kind of content that Cracku has given me, I am really like happy that, and honestly because of that I was able to score a 99.79 in QA, like all thanks to Maruti sir and the content team, like amazing content because of that. So essentially the most important thing I believe in quant is, first of all, confidence that you can do it. Second would be you get a good guidance of really someone who's very good at it. So Maruti sir, I believe that last year also he had given and he got exact 102, and even now he has got a very high score. I think 70 plus. So looking at someone like him solving a quant problem and then comparing that with my approach, the and one thing was that in all the video solutions he mentions each and everything. So he starts with the basics and then he gives a solution. So suppose if I don't remember something, it gets revised automatically. And apart from that, there were few or YouTube live sessions also of Maruti sir and Saili ma'am. So I attended those as well. And if suppose I've missed one, then I used to go back and see the videos and I used to solve all the sums. And I think there are few. One a very good video was Saili ma'am 2 hours all formula. That was very helpful in the end to revise the formulae. And apart from that, I think 100 top 100 questions by Maruti sir. That was a 6-hour marathon video. That was also amazing. So these are the few things about like which actually helped me through my entire journey. Yeah.
So, can you tell us what were some of the biggest mistakes you've done during your CAT preparation, like, and how did you learn from them?
Okay. So mistakes, I would say that first mistake that we do is, if we think that okay, today I will sit for this mock because I want to score, I want to top this mock. That should never be the approach. Even a topper doesn't know that he's going to top the mock. And the days when you put pressure on your own self that okay, you have to go there and get a high score, then you never get a high score. So essentially, what I did was, in fact, the mock 4 days before CAT, I got an 80 percentile,
Okay.
and that was actually very demotivating. And for a like, it gave me a huge shock that I had thought that okay, this is my last mock, and I have to score really well in this. And that was a mock where I actually did not score well. In fact, I did not clear cutoffs in all the 3 sections.
Okay.
Like there was not even one section where I did well. Like 80 percentile, very bad score. But so what it taught me was that if I'm thinking that I want to do well, then I will not do well. So I don't have to go there thinking that I have to score this much, this much, this much in each section. What I have to do is I have to go out there and just apply the knowledge to a specific question. So one
Right.
thing which a mentor has told me that the question doesn't care. What is going in your head is irrelevant for the question. The only thing is you have to solve the question. You have come here to solve the question. You solve the question. You go ahead. Nothing else should stay in your head. So just be with a free mind. And the way I overcame came that was I did not study for 2 days.
Okay.
I had done a lot of practice. So I was obviously, one thing was there, maybe I got a bit overworked giving a mock right 3-4 days before CAT. So what I did was I just relaxed, and last 2-3 days it was more about a mental strength. I just revised
Right.
my quant formulas, and I did not solve anything. I was just reading news and reading some heavy, light content, and essentially talking to people who made me feel positive, like who had belief in me. Like there was a point where, if we get a very low score, then we go into self denial, like, and self doubt. I
Right.
mean, 4 days before, if you get an 80 percentile, then things like start getting miserable. But
Right.
one thing was that I thought that this is not the end of life, and apart from that, I leave some things on God. Like I believe that, and one more thing which really helped me over the last 3-4 days was there was one video released by Maruti sir and Saili ma'am about mental balance in the exam. Like that was not about studies. That gave me a lot of motivation. Apart from that, I spoke to my mom, and I spoke to my friends who have made it to the top colleges. So
Right.
what I did was I kept myself positive, and I thought that I've worked so hard that whatever it is, this way or that way, but I will not pressurize myself, and that was a game changer for me.
Brilliant. So, according to you, what was that most important thing that actually helped you improve your scores?
The most important thing I think is that don't stop giving up, don't give up, like don't stop trying. Like you lose when you stop. If
Right.
suppose there was one mock 10 days before CAT where I got a 7 in DILR. That is
Okay.
just being able to solve net, not even 3 questions correct in 40 minutes. Like I kept flinging from one set to another, but I could not even solve one set
Okay.
completely. So that was a very miserable feeling in that mock. And after that, I even messed up my quant section as well in that mock. But what that taught me was, there is still something where I'm missing out, or some places where I'm not able to select properly. So what I did was I resolved all the sets. I actually went into flashback, like why did I make the mistake of selection? That is more important. See, everyone is going to make mistakes. What is more important is to learn from your mistakes so that you
Exactly.
can
Yes.
improve. And one thing is that nobody can every time get 100 percentile in each and every mock they give. The scores will fluctuate. In every section, they will fluctuate. And the moment you think that, okay, wow, I'm doing very well, the next mock you are going to go down. So be grounded, and I believe that if one mock you did draw bad, then there was one mock where you did exceedingly well, right?
Right.
So the law of averages apply over here. So we should actually not take too much pressure and just be normal. So one thing which really helped me, is power of visualization. So how I applied power of visualization is that once if you think that you can achieve something in life, you can achieve it. You just need to attract success. So essentially, what I've done is I wanted to score a 99 plus in CAT. So in my room, I've written it on a whiteboard, like I want to score a 99 plus, and I see it every day. So that, like that, seeing that is the first thing I see in the morning and the last thing I see at night. So I start my day with that, I end it with that, and that
Okay.
has helped me. And now coming to the exam day, so mine was slot 3.
Right.
So I had got a feedback from a detailed feedback from slot 1
Right.
and a somewhat feedback from slot 2. So one of the things which I had figured out was that English, VARC and DILR are quite on the difficult side, and Quant was on the moderate side.
Okay.
So even before going for the CAT, one thing I had visualized that come what may in VARC, come what may in DILR, but in Quant, I am going to attempt as many as I can. Like I'm going to go for an absolute kill.
Right.
So there are two possibilities. Either my accuracy will drop and I will score less, or my accuracy will shoot up and this will take up my entire score. And I took that risk. This was the highest number of attempts. I didn't even attempt that many questions in a mock.
Okay.
But I went and attempted that many questions in the third section, and I did not do well in the first two
Okay.
to the best of my ability. But what I thought was, now it is like either this way or that way. So just take the risk. It was a game changer for me. Like I scaled up my attempts to that level that I have never even crossed in 2-hour format 50 in QA.
Okay.
and my raw score was 58.
Great.
So yeah, that helped me a lot.
Brilliant. So, are there any tips that you'd like to give the future CAT aspirants?
Okay, yeah. So first thing is that start early, because you never know when later you can't plan that. If you think that later you will do this, you will do that, but those things never happen. So you start right now. Second thing is, I will say that please join Cracku complete course, because I believe that the value for money is extremely there in Cracku.
Right.
Third thing is, start giving daily targets. So even if you have not covered the portion, but attempting 5 questions won't do any harm. Next thing I will say that try to give one mock before your actual preparation starts.
Okay.
So what will happen is, you will actually realize where are you. The first mock that I had given, I got a 50 percentile.
Okay.
So from there, my journey started to a 99 percentile.
Great.
So it is a step-by-step process. But first, when you give a mock, then you will realize that, okay, now I'm here. Then I have to slowly move here. Then I have to go ahead, some 50 to 60, 60 to 70. It won't happen overnight unless you're exceptionally intelligent and you are from maybe IIT, NIT and all that you straight away start with a 99. But apart from that, I think, yeah. And for motivation, I think, one thing is there that self-belief is most important. Like,
Right.
can make it. And those who don't believe in their own self, imagine if you don't believe in yourself, then who else will believe in you? That is just as simple as it can be.
Right.
This is what I would want to say to all the future aspirants.
Right.
Until what I said was, I watched Maruti sir's videos one week before.
Okay.
So, mental strength and all, he has covered in depth in that video.
Brilliant. So, thank you so much, Haren. You gave some really valuable insights, and it was great having you here today.
Great. Same here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.